we talked enough. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, go do it.
We all have expectations in our lives. For example, you expect you do well on a test, and if you do well on that test, you feel good about yourself. You got a good grade. But if you don't do great on the test, you not only feel bad about the grade you got, but you also feel bad that you didn't live up to that expectation of yourself. Today, my name is Emily Hess, and I will be talking about family expectations. Family expectations is when your family puts pressure onto you to exceed in school. They put pressure on you to do great on school activities, and that can put pressure on a student. Now, y'all might think that having family pressures put on you is always a bad thing, and you'd only be half right. Family pressures can actually have a positive impact on a student. Today, I will be talking about the positive impact that family expectations can have on a student, the negative impacts family expectations could have on a student's mental health, and I'll also be talking about how the culture that your family grows, that you grow and your family live, can affect your family expectations. Family expectations can have a positive impact on a student. Research published by Yoko Yamazaki and Susan D. Howard states, students whose parents hold high expectations receive higher grades, achieve higher scores on standardized tests, persist longer in school than those whose parents hold relatively low expectations. Having your family put high expectations on you can give you the motivation you need to do well in school. For example, you're doing something very hard in school and you're not doing too well on it, but you don't want to put in the work. But then you remember the expectations that your family has for you and you don't want to disappoint them, so you put in the extra work and you get the higher grade. This graph shows how parental expectations affect the student's motivation, student's academic self-efficiency, which all connect to the student academic outcomes. On the other hand though, if your family holds low expectations for a student, they won't have the motivation they need to do well in school, and this in turn can make the student have bad grades, get in trouble in school, or maybe even drop out altogether. Now I'll be talking about what happens if your family puts too much pressure on you to do well. Research published by the American Physiology Association, raising parents' expectations and criticism are linked to an increase in perfectionism among college students, which can have degrading mental health consequences. School is stressful enough with all of your classes, all your classwork, and then put extra pressure on yourself from your family expectations is hard. That's why this picture means a lot. You have to balance your school and your family expectations all, and you can see the frowning face on the bottom. She's just trying to balance school and her family expectations all into one. Nars Hussain states in her journal research, parents of students resist them to attain high grades, and consequently many undergrad students suffer from very high levels of stress and anxiety. Now I'll talk about culture. The way culture defines who you are and how you grow up, but it can also affect your family's expectations of you. The International Journal of Environmental Research of Public Health reports, culture is also a strong predictor of parental expectations regarding a child's cognitive and social development. Western cultures expect a child to develop a lot earlier than the charge compared to traditional cultures. This cartoon shows, you can see the student on the bottom with his eyes have circles, and his parents just keep putting more and more into his backpack. They expect him to do all these things and do well at them, but it is hard for the student and he's just lying on the ground. The Al-Badi Psychological Medical explains, parents have high expectations to the point of giving their children performance anxiety in school. This is one of the reasons why reports suggest Singapore kids as young as 8 years old could be contemplating suicide. Immigrant families also put excess pressure on their child or student. Many immigrant families immigrate to another country like the United States to have a better life. They want their kid to do well, and many believe that doing well in life means that you have to do well in school. This, while does mean a lot to do well in school, but it's not always the case. You don't have to do perfect in school to do good in life. In conclusion, having family expectations can have a positive impact on a student. It can give them the motivation they need to do well in school. But parents need to remember to keep their expectations reasonable. You can't expect your child to be the best at everything or do everything like this picture shows. Also, the culture that you grow up in can have an impact on your family's expectation of you. If you're an immigrant family, you might have more family expectations put upon you. Thank you.